Hi, I'm David Lane, and welcome to Sports Vision, where I'm talking all things rugby this week with Adam Friend, the coach of the Eastern Suburbs rugby team. Adam, how are you going?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. Mate, you're a local Kookaburra and a foundation member of the Brumbies. Can you tell us a little bit of where your rugby took you between now and then, and what brings you back to Canberra in 2010?
Yeah, I suppose after I left the Brumbies in '96, I got an offer to go to Japan to play, so I spent 3 seasons playing over there. I returned home for about 6 months. I spent 1 season playing in the US. Came back. I was development officer at Gungahlin Rugby Club and the backs coach until 2003, where we won the grand final there against Tuggeranong. And then I got an offer to coach overseas in the States. Spent 5 years there at a club called Pearl City in Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, I got offered a chance to be the backs coach for the US team at the World Cup in 2007, and I stayed on another year, 2008, and we just spent the last year, just till November, coaching my club team, and thought it was time to come back. And I spoke to Andy Friend, and he said, he wanted me to be a kicking coach at the Brumbies. And we sort of went from there, and the East job sort of factored in there as well, so it sort of fit in, and I thought it was time to return, so I've been all over the place.
Mate, well, it's good to have you back. After several years of struggle, the East rugby team made the John Ident Grand Final in 2008 for the first time in nearly 35 years, in what many thought would be the rebirth of a very proud club. However, many factors conspired against the club last year. How does Adam Friend go about bringing back some of that glory to the club?
I suppose, last year's gone. I wasn't here. There's a lot of new people at the club, so first of all, we forget about 2008.
Mm-hmm.
I try to bring the experience that brought the best out of me in a player, being able to turn up and to a professional club
mm-hmm.
where things are organised, trainings are organised, you're learning things that are specific to the game. We spend a lot of time on game-specific things. We don't let little things or train things that are not used in a game of rugby. We don't just do skills for the sake of skills. We put them into game situations.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose just trying to get players to be confident, after their tough year. We're just trying to get them into a winning mode. If a player's confident, he'll play well. And we try to get guys, give them specific jobs and say that's all you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And all those little jobs build into a good team.
Right. Mate, with the Transact pre-season Shield coming to conclusion this weekend with the finals, what areas of improvement will the Beasts need to do as they move into the John Ident season?
I think we've played 2 games now, actually 3 games, and we have to improve all areas. We're a little bit off the pace. Defence is a big key of mine, and that'll win you games. And when we beat Royals, that's what won it for us.
Mm-hmm.
Our game on the weekend, we were a little bit sloppy and let in a few tries, and that's what beat us. So we're big into defence, but also improving the guys' rugby IQ,
mm-hmm.
what to do and where, why are we doing these things,
yeah.
And you'd be surprised, a lot of people just, don't know that.
Yeah.
They're just calling things for the sake of it. So we're trying to get into their heads reasons why to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mate, the Beasts have a very proud representative history too, with such players as George Gregan, Henry Vanderglass, and even Reza Al-Massi, who captained the ACT side on the weekend, being selected for higher things. Are there any current players that you have in the squad this year that might be on the trajectory to bigger and better things?
I think so. Besides Reza, of course, one of our best players. We have another great player, Jack Vanderglass, who's represented in the past.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a few Brumby Academy boys, Luke Evans and Sam Warra. Mitchell Lewis is another guy.
Mm-hmm.
So there are. We've got a few guys. One I coach over in the US, who's a current US Test centre playing for us. So we do have guys that I think can reach that next level, and wouldn't be surprised if you hear of Sam and Luke coming up in the near future.
In the near future. And you mentioned earlier your time involved as the backs coach of the American Eagles. Mate, can you give us an insight into the rugby in the States and maybe highlight a story or two about your time over there.
I suppose rugby in the States, it's a bit of a sleeping giant. I think they've got 80,000 people playing over there, which is a hell of a lot of people. But you just can't compete with the top line sports. You go to a college football game, there's 80 or 100,000 people there, and the kids go off to the NFL and are set for life. What USA Rugby are trying to do is recruit those guys that don't go to the NFL, and they have been doing it a bit. But, the team we had at the World Cup was a good team. We lost all 4 games. England beat us by 12 points, I think, Samoa by 2, Tonga by 10, and South Africa by 20, I think. So the top level, if you can pick guys from all over the place, pretty good. But like anywhere, from the top to the bottom, huge difference. Guys, some clubs have money, some don't, and that's where the issue is.
Yeah. What's the standard like compared to the ACT?
It's hard to say. Like, the top level teams, I think, would do pretty well. Just not as experienced. You've got kids that start playing rugby when they're 18, 19 years old. Here at 7 or 8. So guys are still learning when they're at that age. Where here, you hope that those guys have learned a bit more. Athletically, they're pretty good. But let's, like I said before, rugby IQ. That's a big difference.
That would be the big difference, yeah. And you mentioned before that you've got the current US centre playing for you guys. Is there any merit in local clubs getting involved and creating partnerships with some of the teams over there in the US for that sort of purpose?
Yeah, I think so. We're definitely, we're actually trying to get 1 or 2 more, because the US Rugby, American Samoa is part of that, so there's a pretty good, pool of rugby there. It's good experience for those guys. The seasons sort of don't clash too much, although they play tests in June and November. So you might lose them for a couple of weeks. But, I think with the sort of connection we have, we'll be seeing more of those guys at our club.
No worries. Well, thanks for that, Adam, and it's great to have you back in Canberra. Good luck to Eastern Suburbs this year, and all the best with your own personal coaching ambitions.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
No worries, mate.
Thanks, mate.